Let's talk prop queen edges in the NFL. Wildcard Weekend starting tomorrow. Early looks. Starting with Bryce Young over 29.5 pass attempt. Oh, why did I say? Sorry, that is wrong. I like his over completions. I don't know why I said over pass attempts in that graphic. I also made this graphic on like Monday, and I just copy pasted it because I didn't have time to make a graphic. But I think I like his completions more. Hold on, let me just get the guide up. Need the prop queen guide. Oh, here it is. I'll explain both props, but... And remember, you guys could get access to the prop queen guide. I'll show it to you real quick. Nope, that's the cheat sheet. You get the cheat sheet for free, by the way. The NFL cheat sheet is on thepropqueen.com, or you can go to my Instagram and comment cheat sheet on the video, comment wildcard on my Prop Queen Sports Instagram video, and you'll be able to get the cheat sheet sent to your email. So that's the free version if you just want the free version. But then there's also your computer, upload file. Betting guide. This thing's a big one, so nope, too big. File's too big to share, so can't share it. But this Prop Queen betting guide is available on the Prop Queen newsletter. It has literally all this information in it, like I have on Bryce Young. I'll just show you. I'll snapshot it and show you a picture of the slide. Everything that I'm saying is in the guide, so you can always have it sent straight to your email if that helps. But like, for example, this is Bryce Young. You could look to his over pass completions or attempts. I guess both do work. Bryce Young over completions. He's averaging 20 completions a game when up against the team bottom 10 in completions allowed. The Rams, they allowed the 9th most completions per game, 22 per game, in fact. Bryce Young only had 15 completions in the upset over the Rams on November 30th. And yet, this number is up to 18.5. The Rams have allowed quarterbacks 59% to go over their completions prop this year. They allow the 7th most pass attempts per game as well at 34.5. 59% went over their pass attempt props. And Bryce Young's averaging 32 pass attempts a game when up against the team bottom 10 in pass attempts allowed. So you could be looking at the Bryce Young pass attempts or completions over tomorrow. Teteroa McMillan, his longest reception. The Rams have been struggling this year when up against wide receivers. They have been they're bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. And Teteroa McMillan is the deep threat of this team. He is double digits, 20-yard plus gains. So you could look to Teteroa McMillan to expose some kind of blown coverage by the Rams and their secondary. Caleb Williams under 12.5 yards for his longest rush. I don't want to do rushing yards because Caleb Williams does run the ball more at home and he runs the ball better at home. But he's getting a Packers D that allows the 5th least rushing yards per game to quarterbacks. 67% of quarterbacks this year went under their longest rush prop. So with Caleb Williams at home, where he runs the ball more, I'm not going to go for quantity, but I'll go for quality runs. And he's averaging 10 yards per longest rush when facing teams top 10 in rushing yards allowed against quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with the under on the longest rush for Caleb Williams and say that the Packers do a good job at containing him in the ground, not getting too large of a gain at once. Trevor Lawrence under his passing yards up against the Buffalo Bills. I mentioned this one multiple times this week because we're getting probably what's not even that high of a number, but already inflated because he faced Indy, the Jets, and the Titans his last 3 games. So yeah, any of us should throw for 250 plus against those 3. But against the top 10 pass D, Lawrence is only averaging 188.5 for passing yards per game. So against the Buffalo D, that is allowing the least passing yards per game, 82%. 82% of quarterbacks have gone under their passing yards prop this year against the Bills. So Trevor Lawrence under passing yards, because the only way the Jags should win this game is if they run the football on the Bills, tire down that defense, and use Travis Etienne. Brenton Strange under 35.5 receiving yards. I love Brenton Strange. He made me money last week. I love Brenton Strange. However, this is a horrible matchup for Brenton Strange, who's getting one of the best defenses in the league against the tight end. 7th least receiving yards, Buffalo has allowed the least receiving yards per game to tight ends. The least. They are the best. The Bills are the best defense in the league against tight ends. 67% of tight ends have gone under their receiving yard prop against this Bills D. And Brenton Strange has only faced one good defense this year that's top 10 against tight ends. In fact, he's averaging 7 receiving yards less per game at home. So I would fade Brenton Strange this weekend after he did hit for us last week. Josh Allen over pass attempts, 30.5. He's averaging 33 pass attempts a game when facing teams that are bottom 10 in pass attempts allowed. Jacksonville allows the most pass attempts per game. 59% of quarterbacks went over. It's a close game, close spread, 1.5. So if it is a close game, Josh Allen should be trying to throw the football more. Saquon Barkley over his receiving yards prop. Saquon Barkley, 13.5. This number is very low for a player averaging 19 receiving yards a game when at home, and just about the same number in his 4 home playoff games. Saquon Barkley against teams bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed to running backs. 29 receiving yards this year. And the 49ers allow the 10th most receiving yards per game to running backs. I know that Mid-Major Matt said that he was going to attack with Dallas Goedert because of the linebackers being out. But the linebackers being out for the 49ers also helps Saquon Barkley in the passing game. So I would go look at Saquon. George Kittle under receiving yards. You guys know I love Kittle in prime time, but at home. This game's on the road in Philly against the second best defense against tight ends. 71% of tight ends have gone under their longest reception prop against Philly. 68% of tight ends went under their receiving yards prop against Philly. He's gone under his receiving yards prop in 2 of 3 games against the Eagles. Kittle against teams top 10 against tight ends, averaging 53 receiving yards a game, 16 yards per longest reception, which is all under his 60.5 receiving yards, under his 21.5 yards per longest reception. Drake Maye under his completions. Against teams top 10 in completions allowed, Drake Maye is only averaging 18 completions a game. Chargers, third least completions per game allowed. 76% of quarterbacks went under this season, and 90% of the last 10 went under. He's making his NFL postseason debut, Drake Maye, against an experienced defense in the Chargers, led by Khalil Mack, Denzel Perriman, head coach, and Jim Harbaugh. So I'd be worried about Drake Maye in his NFL playoff debut hitting some completions, making some completions. Justin Herbert under his passing yards. Herbert against teams top 10 against the pass, only averaging 203 passing yards a game this year. He's averaging 20 passing yards less per game on the road this season. The Patriots, 9th least passing yards per game allowed to quarterbacks. 9 of the last 10 have gone under their passing yards prop this year when facing this Chargers defense. So I'd be looking at the under on Herbert passing yards. Pat Freiermuth on Monday Night Football should get lost in the playbook. DK Metcalf's back, Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. Pat Freiermuth is also getting a horrible matchup since Houston allows the 7th least receiving yards per game to tight ends. So with Freiermuth against top 10 defenses against tight ends, Freiermuth's only averaging 18 receiving yards a game this year. So I'd look at that under. And then Dalton Schultz. Oh, I love Dalton Schultz. Over his receiving yards. Pittsburgh allows the 5th most receiving yards per game to tight ends, and Dalton Schultz has the experience in the playoffs. Against teams bottom 10 against tight ends this year, Schultz is averaging 67 receiving yards a game. Even on the road, that number is 64 receiving yards per game. His longest reception, he averages 23 yards per longest reception, 16 when he's on the road. So I love Dalton Schultz over his receiving yards this weekend as well. Love passing yards over. We could look to Props.cash. Share screen. Props.cash. Let's look. NFL. And remember, guys, you can use Props.cash using promo code PropQueen. You get 50% off your first month if you want to try it out for the playoffs. You get 50% off this month using it for the playoffs if you use promo code PropQueen. You can see all of these. Let's just look at first Jordan Love against Chicago. 4 of 6 went over. He's averaging 225 passing yards per game against the Bears. 2025 on the road against the division, 1-2. Against the division overall this year, Jordan Love, 2 of 5. We could go playoffs, last 10, 2-12. So do with that info as you may. Nothing fully stands out there. Also, let's see quarterbacks. So 60% of the last 10 quarterbacks have gone over their prop against the Bears. 53% overall this year. Jared Goff went over, Purdy went over, Love went under last game and over the first game. But again, the first game was the home game, right? So at home, Jordan Love averaging 223. On the road, 227. I don't hate it, Jose. I don't hate it. But it's okay. It's not one of the ones that stood out to me, but it's okay. Let me see what else I had in here on Jordan Love. Did I have any props on Jordan Love? Jalen Hurts. No, I only had Bears props in that game. Nothing. I hate the Packers because you can't handicap their receivers. The receivers are just all over the place. It could be anyone's game. They're all very identical. And they don't really have tight ends anymore. So, yeah, I didn't really bet anything Jordan Love, but I don't hate it.